Hello everyone, welcome to Your World of Mine. Show me yours and I'll show you mine. And today we have beautiful Camelia here, a beautiful flower, all the way from Romania. So welcome Camelia. It's wonderful to have you here. I'm really curious to hear what's happening in your world.
Should I start?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Hello everyone. I don't know to whom I'm talking, but whoever I'm talking, I'm just greeting you from the bottom of my heart. What's happening in my life? Well, for the past month, it's been quiet in the way I've manifested in the outside, but a lot of things have happened on the inside, and I felt kind of everything. Not really knowing exactly what happened, but there was a lot of energy running through my system with all these eclipses and periods. And now in the Mayan calendar, I'm in my wave spell. It's my 13 days of inner discoveries of my path and my way. It's for the first time that I'm doing this consciously. And I'm in the third day of the 13 days. I'm also on a program and on a contemplation on my SQ, my heart, which is about questioning the truth and finding my path, exactly like the Mayan archetype. So what I do, it's connecting with my essence, I think, and aligning it with it and going with the flow. What can I do? That's following serendipities. That's my purpose in the end. And indeed, since I finally understood that this is my way of functioning and then this is what I should do, my mind starts to slowly adapt and adjust to the process and to allow it to happen. Because each time I want to solve things with my mind, it just goes crazy. I can't sleep. I'm nervous, anxious, in all the possible mad ways that I can manifest. And when I let go and enjoy the flow of life, then I settle into my being and things start to be smooth again.
That's most beautiful. You're mentioning so many things that I'm really curious about. Firstly, I want to ask you about the Mayan Wave thing that you were speaking about. What is that all about?
Well, I know about this Mayan astrology for a couple of years from one of my best friends. And it's another way to look at yourself, another perspective that the ancient Mayans gave us. And this wave spell and this interpretation came in 1987 through a couple, Jose Arguelles and Leodine Arguelles. Leodine, I don't know her name. They were two ascended masters that formed a couple for 21 years, exactly the time necessary to implement this system. And just speaking in a little bit now and then, I've just felt more and more attracted. And now in this summer, I had a course with my friend just to have a reason to ground it better in our being. And now for the first time, as I've said, I'm integrating this wave spell. What is it? So according to this system, the time is split, the year is split into 13 months of 28 years, 28 days, sorry. And there are 20 archetypes, each of them having 13 tones, 13 nuances. So when you find your archetype, your date of birth archetype, usually this is part of a cycle of 13 days. Like for me, it's the cycle of the yellow warrior that just started 3 days ago. And what I've realized, I love to study systems and to see the interconnections between the system, like tarot and Jinki's human design, the Mayan astrology now. And it's fabulous what you get to find out of these archetypes in the end. So this period of 13 days just adds more value and more detail about who you are, what you're here to do, what are you here to integrate, what are you here to manifest, what's the challenge of your relationship, what is your true heart desire, what are you here to heal, all sorts of themes. And it's very, very helpful and magical, and it opens a lot of gates into our soul and to dive deeper into downloading more and more information about who we really are and what we're here to do, which seems to be my passion.
Oh, I just love what you're speaking about and sharing about. Thank you for that. Because I'm also my Mayan blueprint. I'm a white world bridger.
Wow. I'm a red serpent.
And it's very interesting. When I also, a few years back, actually quite many years back, I was also in this discovery process of finding all these different views of myself. And I just want to explain to other people. It's like this bottle here. The water is in there. I have to drink the water to really know what's in here. If I just saw it, it could be anything, any substance. But I have to open it up and I have to drink it. So that's one experience. Then there's the different parts of it. And when we speak about things like the Mayan calendar and our Mayan blueprint, and we're speaking about our natal charts and astrology and the human design, our profile there, and the gene keys and all things like that, and numerology, there's many, many systems that's been discovered from ancient times, long time ago already. And we look back at the ancients of the past, they were looking at the stars to guide them. They didn't have maps like we have today. So it all comes from this cosmic intelligence, what we're speaking about now. And there's different views of the same picture, different sides of it. It's like a beautiful diamond, which we all are, and we have so many different facets. And like you say, it helps us to understand ourselves, moreover, how we relate to other people and the world, what type of actions we take that's in tune with who we are. And now I'm not talking about the things we do specifically, it's how we do it, for example. And then we can go to the specific parts as well. They all aligned. So when we hear about these things, a lot of people are not used to it yet. They're quite afraid of it. They've been conditioned to think it's weird, for example. And it's actually just a different view. It's like, if I'm now comparing it to knowledge, you know, in the time where I come from, there was no internet, there was not even television at the time when I was little. We only had the library and encyclopedias, I can't even say the word anymore, where we could discover what this world is about. But now with the internet and communication and technology, we can speak like this with each other and we can explore things together about ourselves and the world out there. So when you were speaking about the wave spell 13-day period, it was just most wonderful for me, because today it's the second time that somebody referred to the 13 moons, you know, the moon period. And I just want to explain to other people, maybe for their reference, is that in the Mayan calendar, they don't have 12 months, they have 13. And on the 25th of July, it's a day that I just love, it's the day out of time, because then the two calendars are aligning. Otherwise, there would be a day difference. And in our perspective, or what we do on that day, it's play. You just have to play that day because it's the day out of time. And you can really take your imagination and go wild with it as well. It's such a wonderful day to just think you don't have to do the normal stuff in your, you know, the normal humdrum of every single day, whatever it might be. That day you can just play. And that's really so wonderful. And I've met amazing people on those type of days. We would go to the park, strangers start sticking a ball together or playing, just wonderful. But there's much deeper meaning to it as well. And that's what we're now talking about, what you just shared with us. So I'm really grateful that you took the time to spend with us today during your wave spell. It seems like there's some kind of connection here.
It seems so, because we want to connect for about 2 months, no?
Yeah.
Just the time didn't come. I wasn't available somehow. I was in holidays and here and there. And now it's just with a half an hour late error, but still we've managed to connect. And yeah, it's amazing, you know, just taking this time to watch the rhythms of nature, just disconnecting from my activities, from everything. I could do that because I'm staying at my parents now, and I'm leaving tomorrow. It was like going back into the womb. This is how I felt, and it was just observing. And I wanted to initiate things during this period since the end of July. I wanted to initiate meetings that with a certain person that I feel in my heart, and it's both ways, and we couldn't. We just couldn't. And I said, okay, Mars is retrograde, Mercury is retrograde, 7 planets retrograde, whatever. I went mad when I saw that. First time we couldn't, second time we couldn't, third time we couldn't. I was jumping. I said, okay, I'm running on the hills. I can't. Let me go into the forest and knock all this energy. I was like a volcano, you know, but then I breathed in, settled down, and said, okay, it's according to the plan. You see, it's just, I can't force it. And I said, okay, if it's meant for us to meet, we will meet, and it will be easy. Not like that, and not out of my mind and our will. You know, it's just, I felt such a strong message that it's not for me to force it. It's just for me to be who I am, getting back to my center. And this is the challenge that my relationship brings me. It's the Gaia, the red earth, being connected with myself, centered in the synchronicity of life. And this is what happened to me, because this was the last thing I could do in the end. Even though my ego, who would have loved to do many other things. But understanding this was much, much easier to do that. And it happened something else, because going in the forest, and from now and then, not all the days, when I just managed to go, because my parents live very, very close to this mountain area, and I used to have strolls in here, and I just watched the sunset. And for the first time in my life, I'm here since I was 5, but well, I'm living in another city for many years, but for the first time I saw 3 deers. Not 1, but 3. I never saw deers here. Another evening I saw a wild pig, or I don't know the name.
Boar, yeah.
Boar, yeah, exactly. Crossing my path, and well, luckily it was quite a distance in between. And then another day, a white dog came to me and licked my hand. And then he came the next day, and was, you know, such a big connection. Dogs that usually used to bark at me, they came to me for a pet, and just being happy to see me. And I felt such a big expansion and such a big connection with all this beauty, and it gave me such a breath of fresh air, and of certainty, and of nurturing, and of containment. I was just felt so much bliss to be there, you know, and it was so easy, absolutely beautiful, amazing. Just came back home. If it were for me, I wouldn't have left the forest. I'm just in love. And I've also been to a small camp, well, to have a course in the mountains as well on human design and relationships and sexuality. And it was exactly in the same in the same time with the Perseids, the rain stars, yeah. And it was for the first time that I've stayed laying back on the grass and watching the sky and seeing all the falling stars. And amazing. It was like my childish dreams coming true, you know. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
You're sharing such the wonder of life, I had to even think to get to a word for it, because if we just to come back to our own rhythm and to ourselves, you're sharing the most amazing experience that when we go into nature and we put all the other stuff away, we just be there. You see now how nature responded to you. You're sharing with us about the deer and the boar and the dogs. Because then for me, everything is in harmony. So the world can respond back to you in harmony because we are in harmony. Firstly with ourselves, because if we're not in harmony with ourselves, how do we expect the world to respond beautifully towards us? Because if we are torn with this inner conflicts inside of ourselves and we're not really connected to our true self, what are we expecting from the outer world when things don't work out, for example? Or that's our experience of it. But you know what, I want to connect what you were saying with about now is to what people see as failures. When you spoke, things didn't work out with your friend and yourself. Now, I have friends who would refer to that as failure. They didn't manage to do something, whatever it might be. And the one thing for others to become aware of is that we're not living on an island, we're part of a much bigger system, the universe. The stars, everything influences our lives. And yes, it's how we look at it and how we approach it that sort of shows us what experience we will have. So if I have a negative experience about it, I will be in deep anxiety if something doesn't work out. I failed. Whereas when I just see it, everything was just not aligned for it to happen yet. The time was not right. And that is what synchronicity and serendipity is about.
Absolutely.
When things naturally comes together and they just start unfolding, and we don't have to do anything. We just allow it to happen and be part of it. So be present to what's happening. But you mentioned something very interesting that I want to ask you about. What is human design?
Human design is a system, a very complex system. It's a synthesis of many, many other systems. It was like a gift given to me from the universe, because with human design, all my energy went straight into studying it, self-study it. It's so complex. It uses astrology, Hindu chakra system, the I Ching, that's actually the base, genetics, physics, biology, Kabbalah, maybe others. So it's a very complex system that can help us see the blueprint of what are our archetypes. And it studies the moment of our birth, and also 3 months back when the body was mature enough to contain the consciousness, so to attract the soul into it. And when these two charts come together, we have the body graph with our energy, and it's like seeing yourself like through X-rays from the point of view of the energy and what you are containing. And for me, it was that thing that I've somehow expected. My soul knew that there has to be. I've graduated pharmacy and I've studied a lot, but yet I was not very passionate about it. And I knew that my life, it is about passion. I knew that my life should have some meaning. I mean, my profession should be meaningful and make me happy and use all my resources and energy to do that. And pharmacy was not the case. But then when the human design came, I was, I have so much energy for this. I want to know more and more and more and more and more. So I dive deeper. And 3 months afterwards, I found out about another system called Jinkies, which is like an extension of human design that came through Richard Rudd. And human design came through a guy named Ra Uruhu, who was a physicist. And I've always, like a small interference. I've always have such great admiration towards physicists and people that were different, different people. And after studying more about myself, I'm actually very connected to this archetype of the fool, of the one that gets out of systems and finds his own path. And the wave spell with the yellow warrior says exactly the same thing about myself. So I just get all sorts of confirmations about my way of being and to help me accept it and flow with it. So Jinkies for me started to, it was like an extra layer added to the human design chart because it adds such a wonderful refined energy and it makes all this process infinite. I mean, we can expand, there's no limit. We can just make this life be an amazing adventure with no limit. It's just our capacity, it's all related to our capacity to be ourselves, integrate who we are, face challenges, open our hearts, connect. And yeah, it's up to what we choose or we don't choose. I don't know, because in the end, it's all a paradox if we choose or we allow things to happen. But for me, it made life more easier and more joyful and full of that spark of purpose and the beauty of magic and synchronicity. And it added that perspective, subtle perspective that you just feel things, and what on the outside life seems the same, but on the inside it's so much more. It's wow, each day, and you see small things. It's like seeing the numbers of the cars and all those messages that I get from there, and I don't know, pieces of words from a book, from a song, from I've now in this period I've just listened a lot on the YouTube of some music that I never heard about before, and it just came that boom 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 boom, a lot of new music, a lot of French music, a lot of wow. And we're so beautiful and we're so creative, and this is what opened in me this certainty, because I've lived a lot in fear that I won't be able to survive. That's the fear of my locked heart. And reconnecting with creativity and having the certainty that things just will come to me and through me because that's how things are meant to be, it just made everything easier to accept, to take the leap of faith now, because I'm also in a period that I should take the leap. And it's not easy if I'm thinking from normal perspective, but it makes me alive, just to feel that I'm alive, and it's worth it, even though maybe it's not easy, or I don't know, it adds so much, so much, I don't know even what to say, so much bliss to it, and so much meaning, I guess.
As she was sharing with us my body response, and when you said it adds so much to our lives, it's like we have 75 trillion cells, and they all respond and listen in every single moment to the external environment, and they respond to that. And it's almost like the journey that you're speaking about, your own journey, is unlocking each little cell. And we do it all in different ways. We're not all the same. We all do it in our own unique ways, and there's different things that we have to discover in ourselves. But there's all these beautiful things that help us do that. I hear so often, but especially the younger generations, the ones who came more recently, which say that when they finish studying or when they're about to leave school, they don't know what to go and do with their lives, because they don't want to just take a job like the profession you spoke about earlier, being the pharmacist. They want their passions to be their livelihood as well, but they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to get to even to these passions because it's been suppressed and not really been stimulated since birth. and not being taken care of and nurtured and nourished. So when we speak about all these different systems like gene keys and human design and astrology and numerology and all those type of things, and the Mayan system, it helps us to unlock these little parts of us. And I maybe just want to share for our audience's reference that gene keys, there's 64 gene keys. And it's like you say, it's based, that's also based on the I Ching, like you say, it came out of human design. It's like the next level. And it's like the higher purpose within ourselves, in our DNA that's living here. It's real. And once you dip into your own blueprint, as far as that is concerned, you learn so much about yourself, yes, but for me what's fascinating, I play with it every day myself as well. But I don't just play with my own blueprint. I play with all of them. I've been doing that for the last 7, 8 years. But what's interesting for me is I wake up in the morning and I have a very interesting little creative process that happens spontaneously. The moment I open my eyes, I remember my dreams. So I'm very conscious of my dreams. And I don't even write it down anymore. I used to write it down. But immediately then I go into this deep process. I'm just lying and all these things just come into my awareness. But they're random. They don't have any connection between themselves. So I write them down every day. So I've got packs and packs of those papers where I write down that. And every day, my gene key of the day comes through that way. So it's like the universe, my higher self tells me which gene key to work with the specific day. And then I really know. And then sometimes I'll just write it down. I won't even go and think or look about the gene key. I won't do something physically with it. I'm just aware of it. That's my gene key for the day. And guess what? The things coming on my path that day is always things that trigger the wounded part of me. If I'm not aware.
Yes.
If I am aware of my gene key of the day, like the gift part, my day goes just wonderful concerning that area of my life, linked to something that happens during my day. And these things happen spontaneously. It's like some synchronicity and serendipity again. It just happens to me. But I've now discovered if I don't give it any attention, I can easily go into the wounded parts because I get triggered then from external. So it shows you also, it's like a tuning fork. For me personally, it's like a tuning fork. So it takes me into a specific range of my own vibration. And my vibration decides how I will respond to others.
Absolutely.
And I've got a very interesting experience now to share with you because this morning, I didn't do my gene key one. And guess what? I woke up and I opened my emails later, and there was this interesting email I received, and it triggered me immediately. And half an hour later, I was just sitting back, and I was supposed to have another podcast with a lady. It took me 40 minutes almost to get into the session. So it showed that my chaotic energy influenced my session with this beautiful lady. It was not about her, it was all about me. But what I'm trying to demonstrate is that whatever system it is that you are, that you resonate with, that draws you closer, that wants to show you something about yourself, it's all about ourselves, obviously, how deep we want to go into those and work with it and play with it and allow it. And you earlier mentioned the thing about allowing and making a decision, a choice. Mm-hmm. Now, for me, allowance is also a choice.
The best, huh?
The best choice. Because we've been conditioned to think we must go and do stuff and make it happen. Whereas with allowing and us just being aware of what's busy unfolding and responding to that, two different things. But both are a choice. You can choose either.
Sure.
And we're not now today say any one of them is wrong or right. It's just what works for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I want to just play a little bit more with your human design blueprint. I believe they've got different, like these manifesting generators and projectors. So which one are you?
I'm a pure generator.
You're a pure generator.
4-6 profile. I have 3 centers defined: the heart, the G center, and the sacral. and two channels, the channel of initiation and the channel of the flow. And I was born on the cross of love, very close to the summer solstice, on the 22nd of June, because the 22nd in tarot is the Fool. And I just started to love fools. And actually, I've always been attracted to people a little bit different. So
that's why we're here together.
It's not different, it's not interesting for me. Yesterday, a friend told me, a friend who is from Bangladesh and has very developed psychic powers, and he said, you love complicated relationships. And I didn't know if it was a compliment or But then I asked, why do you think that? You've got unbalanced chakras. And I said, yeah, but since forever, you know, maybe. Well, that was not enough for me, you know. And actually, yes, if there's not something to dive in there, to dive for the mystery and to get to the source, to the root of things, it's not for me. I have Mars in Scorpio, I have Saturn there, so I have a big scorpionic energy to dive to the darkest waters. And yeah, life showed me that I'm not afraid of that, and I'm resilient, even though it kind of put me to bed. Got me out of functioning sometimes, but still it seems that my warrior energy wants to go back and solve the puzzle like Sherlock Holmes, you know. And it is about this in the end, being a generator. It is about allowing the life force to guide you from within. And interestingly enough, I'm reading this book from Osho, Tantra, the Supreme Way, the Supreme Understanding. I liked Osho, but I was never a big fan because I've met so many people that, I'm in love with Osho and they've read all the books of Osho, and I wasn't like that. And this book caught my attention in this period, and it's exactly about this idea to allow the life to run through you and to guide you, and for you to be the witness of it. It's exactly the same idea that human design teaches us. It is that our bodies came here to have their own experience. They have everything they need for this, and our mind should just enjoy the journey. But from the way we have been raised and from what's the values of society, this is exactly the opposite. According to them, you become like a vegetable, no? You're of no use. But in the end, when you take that pause and start to question things and start to experiment and to see how it's like this, how it's like that, and to observe, wow, you get so much more meaning, and so much easiness starts to run through your veins. And you know, in the end, you feel yourself with so much life that it doesn't even matter when you're going to die. What's going to happen is just you feel alive and very connected. And yeah, I think that less and less the usual worries start to fade away and allow something greater to happen in you. And like this, it was everything, because I've decided to drop out with my daughter since I was in a medical leave with her. I knew that I will not go back to the corporate world I used to work. That was the soul calling, but I didn't have anything, just ideas for which I didn't have the energy to do them. But then with human design and Gene Keys, I started to have the energy and to drive and the will to do that. And it took me time, and well, there were all sorts of experiences, but wow, what opened for me, the people that I've met, like you. And you know that now in the university, I've started to work with the people that organized the conference that you came here in Romania last year. It's so amazing. Like, oh, it's like crazy. You know? It's like the laughing Buddha. Because in the end, you just start laughing about all this, you know. Amazing.
It is all
Amazing.
connected. It's all
Everything.
connected. I want to ask you a very personal question. You can answer us or you don't have to answer us. But I'm curious because I think it has a lot of value for other young people these days. So when you discovered, when you said after your pregnancy and your little one, how old is she now?
5 years and 9 months.
Okay. How old were you when you discovered gene keys and human design? More or less?
30.
30. What would you say would have been the impact if you discovered it like 5 years before into your life? Do you think you would have been emotionally ready for it? Or do you think it was, in your case, just simply best for you at that time? But what do you think, could there be a difference in your life if you discovered it earlier?
Yeah, I think it would have been a big difference, but you know that everything is perfect the way it was because my 6-line profile and the way of living is that I'm turning to the 6th line on my 30 years, after the 30 year, and I needed that experience of the 3rd line, which just doesn't care about any system or whatever the other people told, whatever the other people say, and just it needed to experience. Of course, I think that it is a value for everyone. It is a value for parents. It is a value for teenagers. It is a value for teachers. It is a value for businessmen. It is a value for everyone because it cannot not be a value to be who you are. No matter what your process is, when you start to understand it and to live it and to know your inner guidance, and because that helps you to understand yourself better, it gives you confidence in what the small feeble voice of you, of the inner master tells you, but you're not willing to listen because it was a bullshit. It was not real. No, that's not. No. And you find, our mind finds 10,000 reasons for not listening to that little voice. And my experience I had in relationships, it was like, oh, the biggest, the biggest war field. And, growing vessel for me. Why? Because I had so many when I didn't listen to myself and I just entered blinded. And when I looked back, I've always had the feeling in the very beginning to do something or not to do something, but I didn't listen. I didn't know to listen to myself. I knew to listen to others. I've always searched for my truth in the others. I did what others told me when sometimes. And even though it was not aligned with what I was feeling, I did that as well. And in the end, it proved that what I was feeling in the very beginning was the right thing to do. But, well, compromise. What can I do? It's in my chart, my vocation.
Oh, what is your vocation?
It's 14th, line 4. So it's compromise, competence, generosity with the line 4 of the heart.
And your life's work, your brand?
15th. It's apathy, magnetism, and fluorescence.
Fluorescence, I love that one.
And you know, my parents, I have this gene key 3 times, and my mother just on the last period, right before giving my name, she just switched and she named me Camelia. It all makes sense, all these switches and
all the things. And your purpose?
My purpose is the 46. It's seriousness, which is the gift. I know it in Romania, but then it's about ecstasy and synchronicity
Mm,
and all
mm,
that.
mm, mm.
Yeah,
It is about ecstasy. Yeah.
it is.
Mm,
Ecstasy lived in the body, and
yeah.
that's exactly what I blocked because my mind was stronger than my body. And now with the wave spell and all this Mayan astrology, I'm the red serpent. It's all about instincts. It's all
Mm.
about the body. It's all about the sexuality. It's all about the life force. And what I did so until recently was to block all this because I was a good student. I had good marks. I was a great employee. I listened. I knew how to fit into society and all that, but I was not happy. I was happy when I was a child and I just played in my mythical world with the bees and the butterflies and all the animals. But then I just had to listen to the others and do my homework. Well, it started to be boring, very boring.
But you know,
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what the impact of you delving so deep into this blueprint of yourself, what the impact that has on your daughter.
Oh, it's a great impact, great impact, because my daughter, I think she was the catalyst for all this in the
Mm,
first place,
mm, mm.
because she came on 29 when I was 28, and it was exactly the year of my what is
Saturn
the Saturn return?
turn, yeah.
Yes, and her spirit from my family, she's the only one that I resonate with, you know. I feel that she's mine. We're all on the same level, because all the others, it's like, oh, what's my family about? It's not my real one, but well, I love them, honor them as much as I can. But yeah, I feel that she she chose me, maybe because I can understand her better. And because I've watched her archetypes, she's a red serpent as well, and she healed me, you know, just watching her. She likes to stay naked. She likes to walk barefoot, even in the center of the city. I mean, there were times that I picked her from the kindergarten and I held her shoes in my hand, and she was just naked, walking barefoot. It was, you know, if you're looking at people like this, people would start to wonder. But so I said, okay, Mama, just do it your way. She likes to go to the fountain in the central square and just take all her clothes off, well, almost all, and just go there and dive into the water. And
Oh.
it's exactly this pure, raw energy that she's manifesting. And when I started to realize that, I just started to build the environment, not to block her, and to watch her sensuality, watch her movements. She likes to to play with the drums and to dance, and she's very sensual since now, you know, she from 2 years. And she's a beauty. Yeah, and I think this is what I think that parents should know, and they not should apply. It's helpful for their kids to be seen the way they are and respected for what they are and treated naturally. Like, I'm a generator, and my mother, she has her own views of the world, and she likes to dominate and to command. And for me, it was like crazy. Generators are not made to be told what to do. But even my childhood and adolescence, and even now she does that because she's too used to do that, and it was so frustrating, you know. And well, instead of that, just ask me if I have the energy to do it now, later, or, you know, it's about bringing the naturalness and the flow and the respect, because this is being respectful towards one another. And it changed so much in the family dynamics. Everything.
You're saying so many important things that we need to consider. Respect for me as well is, and love, by the way, the same. For me, it's the same thing. Love, in my view, in my experience, is when we allow others to be who they fully are and we accept them like that. And with respect, you allow that to happen. And you're not trying to suppress it in any way or try to shape it into another route. You allow it to blossom by itself by providing the nurturing space for it to happen and providing the guidance along the way, but not telling somebody what to do. So I'm a manifesting generator. So also I don't like to be told what to do. although very interesting because of my attraction, which is diplomacy and peace. I'm really good at that, so that made that easier for me to to be with others, to relate to them from an emotional intelligence perspective as well. But there's this other part. No way I'm going to do what you tell me. I'm the rebel. I want to try out everything because I actually just spoke about with a wonderful lady last night about it as well. As who decided what is good and what is wrong? You know, like only my body, me, my soul, my spirit can tell me what's right for me. So don't come tell somebody else, come and tell me what's good for me. They are a deep rebel in that sense. But what I'm curious about as well is that you're saying that the influence on your daughter. So for me, for any person who is thinking of becoming a parent, I think it would be great then to indulge in and dip into things like human design and gene keys to get a taste of it in preparation for the little one to come that you're planning, and even if you are pregnant at the moment, it's never too late. Or if it's a little one, just start because it's really powerful. I think my own daughter as well. Then she's a big girl. She's a little bit younger than you, but it's when you as a parent have an understanding of what your beautiful child is really about, the way you can create a space for them to blossom is so much more empowering and informative because you now are aware why they behave in certain ways. And you don't try to, you really don't try to kill that little flower because of your own views. Like you said, you have very strong opinions or world views or things like that. Because for me, we are not here. Our children don't belong to us. They're not ours.
No.
They just came through us. And so it's up to us just to, when they're little, to provide for them the space to start blossoming.
Absolutely.
And that's the biggest gift we can ever give them. And accept them for who they are and nurture and stimulate that. Not what we want, but who they are. Because then we don't have to wait till we are 30, 40, 50 years old to heal all those wounds from our childhoods. And yes, our parents at those times didn't know much. These days we know a lot more. We are aware of a lot more things. But still, if you start to understand the one you're with, even your partner as well, it's much easier then to relate to them and to respond to them. So like you said, you choose all these interesting relationships. Me too. I'm choosing all sorts of very interesting relationships as well. But it's also visible purely from my gene key blueprint as well. It's very defined, clear why I choose the relationships I choose, what I'm after, what am I looking for in a relationship. It's very clear from this. So it's very informative. It helps us to understand ourselves and that we can really work on the right stuff, that we don't have to waste energy on all sorts of different things to discover what this was really about. I would have loved it if I discovered something like gene keys and human design more than 10 years before I actually did discover it. It would have been amazing. But all in good time, like you said earlier, all in good time for us to get the experiences and to go through the things we go through, because in that way we are able to go really deeply into ourselves and we can be fully present with other people. When we become aware of who we are, we can be fully present to others. And that's the biggest gift we can give to them, by the way, which is, in my view, quite awesome. And if we then go from a family perspective to our children and our loved ones, just awesomeness, just awesomeness. Yeah, I want to ask you another question. You mentioned earlier about your passion. What is your passion about?
I think this one with being myself.
that's the best passion.
I have the the 10th jinki is I have it 4 times in my human design profile. It is my evolution and my attraction. So self-obsession, being the chef.
Number 10.
Yeah, this is my passion to build a life that has a meaning for me, that makes sense. Because for me, it didn't make sense to go to work and to be told when I can have a holiday, to wait from Monday to Friday for the week to end. Many things, they didn't make sense, you know, and I think that this life is such an amazing gift that every second should be honored and we should be grateful for it. But we can't do that if we're not allowed to be who we are. Because if we're put into environments that are not they're not nourishing for our true self, then we won't feel that. We would feel locked and suppressed, and then we would just like for the time to pass. And this was a very strong drive to live my life with all my heart and to do something with all my soul. And I love to do this, and I love to work with people, and I love how they open up, how they become lighter and shining.
I can feel it now.
And it is such a great gift for me. And now it's like a puzzle because I don't have all the pieces yet. I will have them at the end, I guess. And you know, there were so many things I was always questioning, because that's the yellow warrior that's doing that. Questions. Quest I on. So question the path that you're on to make sure that you're on your own good path. So I was okay, which are the laws, you know, the laws that we should obey, we should respect, because no law made sense for me. I'm a fool in the end. But then coming back to the I Ching and the human design and Jinkies, they offered me such a light perspective that I could fit in. I could feel the truth in it. And then it's not about respecting the law, but just understanding how this universe is made to function and integrating into it. And doing that, all this opened up for me, inside of me, and it made sense. And now, I don't know, I'm on this quest for, it's not quest, what I think is happening, I'm becoming more and more creative. And things that I wanted to do long before, since I was a kid, like drawing, painting, I'm just starting slowly and slowly, they start to manifest through me like that. Now I'm starting to write and to be more inspiring with that. I'm still lazy about writing and taking my notebook and write everything down. So you inspire me a lot when you say that. But it's just, yeah, I think I'm becoming a vessel for this energy to manifest, and it's about creativity in the end and flow. Yeah.
Do you also do personal sessions for people?
Yes, I do.
Can they contact you for personal sessions?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
do you do it online as well?
Yes. Yes.
That's everyone. I just want to tell you, this beautiful woman in front of us here, she is sharing a lot of things with us today, but the real inner gift of her is so precious and beautiful, of being able to see with different eyes what's in front of her, and to help people to what she's speaking about today is us who we truly are, to help us in that process. So please reach out to her. Details will be at the end of our podcast. Camelia, little flower, beautiful flower. I'm really deeply grateful because what you did today within our series of Your World or Mine, you brought in, and I feel it on my whole body, another energy into the whole series. And I'm so grateful for that. And that you've taken the time during your wave spell to be with us and to share your energy. Because in the end of the day, it's all about energy. And it's what we are putting out into the world every day. And some of it we do consciously and some we just do naturally. And I think for me, the biggest gift is when we just our pure energy, when we can share it naturally without thinking about it. So it's not being conscious. It just happens. And that's my experience today with you. Is your beautiful, delightful, light-hearted sharing, deep-hearted sharing, by the way, has put in this new energy into our series. And I'm going, because this series is going on till the end of 2019. And
Wow.
I am going to be able to feel and sense, because I'm so sensory, to see how the flow is going to change after this. Because you have now, every single person who's participating from all over the globe is putting in an energy into this. It's a big wave that we're all part of, the joy wave. And you've now put into the joy wave a different type. I feel it. It's a different energy. I'm so grateful for that. And everyone, be curious. Go and explore what Gene Keys is about. Go and explore what human design is about. Whatever it is that you heard about today, don't just write it off because it's unknown to you. Go and explore. Reach out to Camelia to tell her about her experience. There's so many other people on this beautiful planet who has explored these systems. And there's many people that can guide you along the way, but don't let your mind stop you, because it's something you never heard about. What are they speaking about? A blueprint? What blueprint? And for me, if somebody tells me about something and I'm not sure what it's about, I want to go know. I want to go and research it. I want to experience it myself. And that's just me. But I can tell you from my own experience, if I discovered these things 20 years, 25, 30 years ago, whoa, what would my life have been about? Extraordinary. So we don't have to wait till we're like 40, 50 before we discover these beautiful things that's available to us. We can start at a very young age, like you said, even teenagers, to start really moving with it ourselves and to discover how it can help us along the way. Even just the way we're taking in information has, in my case, changed completely since I delved deeper into Gene Keys and the likes of these things. So thank you, Camelia, and I hope you have a few wonderful days still there in the beautiful mountain and with your deers. And it just all shows me some alignments happening in your life, like you said earlier as well, but it needs visible. The things that you draw to yourselves now, the beautiful pictures, and your presence has changed since I last experienced you in this way. So thank you so much for sharing that with all of us.
Thank you so much, Hannelie. I'm just so grateful for meeting you and connecting with you. I feel so close to you. And you have your own important role into encouraging me to be natural and to stay in my energy, because when I see you, it's just it reminds me about myself, that I don't have to strive, I don't have to struggle. I have my culture, it's about struggling. And in my family, everybody struggles about all the small things and unimportant things. And for me, from you, I just see this invitation to have confidence into being myself and being natural and to allow things to happen, because actually I had no idea what we were going to talk today.
Neither did I.
It was okay, but I am going to connect with you on the internet and we would talk, but I had no idea about anything. It's so beautiful. Presence is beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you, Camelia. And thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon again. Goodbye.